Now down about 29, 30 points at 18,402. Take a look at this. Thousands of protesters in Germany after Angela Merkel says she's keeping her open-door migrant policy in place. Those folks not happy. But more on that. But first, one winning Powerball ticket sold in New Hampshire, Saturday night's drawing worth $487 million. It was the nation's 8th largest lottery jackpot. Where is Stu, by the way?
Yeah. Where did he go? Order now.
All right, let's take a look at that big board for you. As we told you before the break, the Dow now turning slightly negative, down 28 points early on this Monday morning. As we're saying, first day of August, first trading day of the week. Taking a look at oil, this is continuing to be a story at right around 40.84, down nearly 2%. Does it drop below that point? There are certainly support measures for oil, but as I said before, increased production in Nigeria and Iraq, and a report that there are more oil rigs coming online. What that all means is that more oil is being produced at a time when we still have a massive supply. So news of that just continues to put downward pressure on oil. Could it drop into the 30s? We shall see, and we're keeping an eye on it. Meantime, turmoil in Germany after Angela Merkel stands by her open-door policy, and that resulted in thousands of protesters in the street yelling, "She must go." Sebastian Gorka, author of Defeating Jihad, joins us now. You know, it's remarkable, Sebastian, that Angela Merkel, with every attack that's been happening in Germany, and quite a few recently, she comes under more and more pressure and criticism, and yet she's not backing down. Is this political suicide for her?
I really think it is, Ashley. Just look at the fact that her CSU coalition partner in the personage of the president of Bavaria, where these attacks have occurred, has said he's not going to support this anymore. If you look at last week, Germany was suffering a jihadi attack every 72 hours. And for her to come back and say, everything's fine, keep the refugees on coming, just shows a kind of disconnection from reality and what the average German wants to see happen. And I think her coalition is dead, Ashley.
Well, that's my next question. Where does it go from here? Will she back down, I guess, is my next question to you.
I think that's up to the people of Germany. I think this demonstration was tabled for 3 in the afternoon local time. So we'll see what the ramifications, how big this protest can become, and whether it can remain mainstream. Because the question is, we've had the Pegida movement, we've had the kind of more nationalist, anti-immigrant thing for years. The question now is, can this be an expression of just concern for the safety of the average German? If they can keep it in that vein, Ashley, I think she's in big trouble.
And what's the likelihood of this spreading? We're already seeing, we know that we have the far-right groups in France, Marine Le Pen and so on, continuing to gain ground. Do you expect that to spread around the rest of Europe?
As long as we have these events that are occurring again and again and again. So if you look at the last 2 months, so just since the beginning of June, we've had an attack outside of Iraq and Syria, so a jihadi attack outside of the war zone every 83 hours. That's a reality that politicians sooner or later have to acknowledge and have to change policies, or they're just simply going to lose their electorate and those governments will fall, or they'll have to dissolve and hold early elections. Look at what happened in the UK, Ashley. You were there, right?
Yes.
UKIP was part of this.
Absolutely. Stuart mentions this a lot, and I re-emphasize, we could very well be seeing the end of Europe, certainly the breaking up of the European Union.
Yeah, I give the EU very short lifespan. I give it maybe a couple of years. There may be a hub left of the real multicultural, multinationalists, but as an institution, I think its time is done.
All right. Sebastian, stay right there. Pope Francis was asked about Islamic terror during his trip to Poland. He says it's wrong to identify Islam with violence. What exactly did he say?
Yeah, thank you, Asher. He said, I do not like to talk about Islamic violence
Because every day when I skim the newspapers, I read about violence in Italy. This one who killed the girlfriend, another who killed the mother-in-law. And they are all baptized Catholics. He goes on to say, the Pope, I talk basically about Islamic violence. If I talk about it, then I also have to talk of Catholic violence. Not all Muslims are violent, just like not all Catholics are violent. So this is offensive. Religion is not a motivating factor in those crimes that the Pope cited about
and yet
Catholics.
all the atrocities that we have witnessed, have been in the name of Islam.
That's correct. The Islamic terror is done specifically in the name of Islam. So to say that religion was a motivating factor in the Catholic-on-Catholic violence, it was not. It was incidental. And to equate the two is deeply offensive.
Yeah, look, I mean, you've got a dynamic with Islam. Catholicism went through its Reformation. Islam is both a religious point of view of faith and a political structure. So when you're looking at the organized effort that moves this through, Liz is exactly right. There's individuals of all sorts who will be violent. What the Pope is interestingly saying also is it's the global economy, not Islam, that is causing this. Fact of the matter is, organizers throughout the Islamic world that is causing this violence are wealthy men. The individuals who are joining up, like on September 11th, very wealthy individuals coming from wealthy homes. These are arguments that come from a political point of view. Pope Francis is a socialist, and he's clearly deciding to avoid the truth of the matter on earth here at this point.
The global economy that essentially beheaded that priest then in France.
And enslaves women.
And enslaves women, yeah.
All right. Sebastian Gorky, you stay right there. I'm going to get back to you. We'll also have Judy Jass respond to the Pope's comments in our next hour. A lot to talk about there. Now a new law goes into effect in Louisiana today, making it a hate crime to intentionally attack a police officer or a first responder. Up next, a warning from the UN. They fear ISIS could be targeting the Rio Olympics with a dirty bomb.
If you're taking multiple medications, does your mouth often feel dry? A dry mouth can be a side effect of many medications, but it can also lead to tooth decay and bad breath. That's why there's Biotene. Available as an oral rinse, toothpaste, spray, or gel, Biotene can provide soothing relief